What do you think?
I think we're dead meat. Real dead meat.
Go ahead and laugh, you guys. If I ever find a little bastards that did this, they're dead meat.
Oh, hey, man. Nice to meet you. I'm James. This is Chelsea.
Hi.
Nice to meet y'all. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, we just watched Ash last night.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah,
cool. Okay, cool.
It was great, and it was especially fun to watch because, I mean, we were both big fans of your work with VHS, with the Ozzy's Dungeon.
Oh, cool.
Yes, love Ozzy's Dungeon.
Yeah, very...
A little different to Ozzy's, but yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how gross this one would be. It was not as gross.
Right. Yeah. We pulled it back a little bit, but the beans still made it in there somehow.
Yeah. Good through line, Yeah, Chelsea's actually been a fan of yours for like...
I've been a fan for a very, very long time.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Los Angeles and Cosmogramma.
Okay.
When I think of like music that I loved in college, especially, which I think is like when music's the most important to you, that age.
What else is there?
Those albums. And 2010. I saw you at the Ann Arbor Film Festival. I was at that screening.
Oh, wow. Heaven and Earth magic.
I was in the front row, so I was sitting right behind you. So this is very exciting for me. This all feels very full circle.
Cool.
So.
Oh, awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. When you started doing horror stuff, I got so excited because I was like, oh my gosh, my worlds are just colliding right now.
Yeah, and Ash is so it's so big. That's what cool. I was telling her last night as we were watching. I was like, I'm curious what the budget is, or if you can even say, because it feels so grand.
It's a small movie. I don't think I ever will know the real numbers at the end of the day, but we had about like 2% of Mickey 17's budget. We had 2% of that, I think, and probably it's probably less than a episode of Andor, like significantly less than one episode of that show.
I mean, it's amazing though because it doesn't feel like it. There's so much, I think, clever work done to really make it feel like it is a bigger in scope than maybe you even feel it is. Like, I believe it's another planet. I believe they're on like a space base, it's so cool.
We built it. That's why we built it. It was practical, all that stuff, the space station was practical. There were no modular parts. You could walk around the whole place.
Oh, cool.
You could open up the door and you're on the planet's surface right out there. And it went for a little while too, It was like, you're out there, and it was so immersive for the cast and for me. And I would always find new ways to do things because of how practical and how real everything was. I'd always just like walk around like, oh wow, look, if you look at it this way, you could do all these cool shots. You just like every day just opened up something new, just being there and like living there and making it my home too. It was wild.
That's interesting that you say like looking at it and realizing, oh, we can kind of shoot it this way. I've never thought about that being a difference in terms of something that's totally CGI, like if you're working on a green screen or something versus something real. I feel like when you're working with something practical, you can come at it from like a more inventive angle. Like you see it in person and realize, oh, here's something cool we could do that I wouldn't have thought of necessarily.
I have a weird process when I know I'm going to film in a space. I just sit on the floor. I roll around on the floor and like crawl around in the room, look stupid as hell, because I just want to see a room from every angle, every possibility, every way that I didn't see through. What happens if I put, a cup here, and like, what is it like if I just blur that out and add a little shadows over here? And I'm always doing that stuff because, we didn't have a lot to work with, so we had to manipulate the environment and try to, build things in the darkness and in the shadows and hide things and reveal things and really play with that stuff. It was a lot of fun, super challenging, but I knew Romulus was coming out. Like, I was like, oh God, they got a whole alien movie coming out like really soon. Like, how am I going to compete with that? Or how am I going to, what am I going to say? What am I going to do? Like, it's all been said already. So just trying to find my way in this with all the limited resources that we had, and that was the biggest challenge, but also the reward too.
Yeah, and I feel like you really touch on it with mentioning Alien Romulus. Sci-fi horror, you can't watch one and not think of Alien.
I know it's messed up. It's messed up, man. And I really it really was one of those things where, I love those movies so much, but I was just like, man, look, I know we're building the set a certain way, but we just cannot do it like Alien, okay? We just gotta try it a different way. Move the door, like I can't do it the same way. It's just so many movies have done it, and I also just felt like since we're not on a ship, it also allows us the opportunity to try to make this place feel like home a little bit. So you'll see there's like these weird elements of like home that they brought with them, like this old piano that's there, and just some of the decorative things that they have around there to kind of make it feel a little bit less like in my mind, the way that we designed it was like it's meant to be almost like this facility was a 3D printed part of a big ship that got dropped off on this planet. Mm-hmm. So it was like this fabricated space station. And so, you had it was all IKEA, the IKEA of this. It had to have like this 3D printed aesthetic, and everything had to feel like it was just part of a bigger thing. It was so much fun coming up with all that stuff. And again, playing with limitations and designing around limitations and just having to get creative, getting hands dirty.
Yeah, it sounds like you were involved in, every aspect of it, production design.
I know you did the music, it's indie films. You're doing indie films. You have no choice. You're gonna wear multiple hats.
Who came up with the look of the spacesuits with the very colorful bubbles on them? I really like the way that those look, and that stood out to me.
Oh man. Yo, it was a collaboration between Itor Thorpe, myself, and this company MDI. They built these suits for us. They were recommended to us by Weta.
Great.
And it's so cool. Those things, they were so cool. Like the one thing that I really wanted to do was part of the lore in my mind was, these suits come from the same family as, I guess, they're your dead relatives. The remnants of your dead relatives are powering the suits.
What?
Yeah, it's like almost like using stem cells or something, but like there's a rib cage in the suit. It's like I wish we had 2.5 hours to tell more of the story, but the lore is pretty fun in my head.
Yeah, I love that idea though, because when you think about space travel, even getting to like the closest livable planets to us, you would have to have generations of people living and dying on a ship. And I love the idea that it's like, well, we have to conserve whatever, we have.
Absolutely. And the company that 7F are part of, they're a lower budget company. They come from like, the worst of the Chinese manufacturing on earth. It's just like the worst of the worst. And they got the most ghetto tools to work with. It's so fun, like the Medbot and making all that stuff, making it feel janky. And,
we love the Medbot.
Dude, we just visited Tokyo and Seoul.
Okay, so
last year.
It. Yeah,
it is so real.
Everything talks to you, and everything is so friendly.
It's like you use the public restroom and you finish, and there's like, "Good job, yay!" Same thing with the Medbot.
Yeah.
I know that you mentioned you wanted to do survival horror with this movie,
Good.
like survival horror, sci-fi, and that's one of my favorite like crossovers. The Martian, the book and the movie, I really enjoyed because it was like this survival sci-fi aspect.
Dude, that's the one I haven't seen. I have not seen The Martian. I know. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it though. I'm definitely gonna do it. I love Ridley. It was a thing though. I was trying to kind of avoid the space movies when I was doing this though, because I knew so many of them. I just didn't want them to infect me. And I didn't want them to discourage me too. I didn't want them because like how can you outdo Interstellar? How can you outdo like come on, man? So it was just like, all right, I just have if I'm gonna do this, I'm watching Halloween, you know, I'm playing Resident Evil, and it was a lot of video games actually that crept into this movie. Lots of games, Dead Space,
I feel that. I
Yes,
totally
Yeah,
feel
I feel
that,
the
man.
video game, especially the like POV stuff.
POVs, yeah,
That fight scene
absolutely.
from the
Yeah,
first person perspective is so exciting. And that's what I love about the movie is that the pacing is so good. A lot of
oh,
movies will have a really interesting first act and second act, and then by the third act it's just kind of on autopilot and you know what to expect. But here,
Yeah, I was saying when we watched this last night that I feel like any other movie, this third act would have just been the movie. But I love keeping all of that as a third act reveal where the rest of the movie is like leading up to like, okay, what actually happened here? Like, what is the big story
the why,
here?
the
And
why,
it made
yeah.
it so that you don't have I always call it like the like third act like doldrums, you know, where it's like, okay, I see what we're doing. I know where
Just
this
wrap
is going.
it up.
Yeah,
then
just get
let's
to it.
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
on,
We have
I'm
our-
ready to go home.
Yes, we've got our obligatory big set piece, and it's all kind of, you know, it just feels like perfunctory. It is interesting though, because you do technically know what's going to happen in this third act. But it's still like realizing how it all happened and all the choreography, and I love a flamethrower, so that's exciting.
great flamethrower, dude.
I love a flamethrower. Gotta do it. Gotta do it.
So how'd you land on your two main actors? Because, I mean, you've gotten to work with so many cool people throughout your career. David Lynch,
I know,
rest in
I
peace.
know.
Tom
So blessed
York,
with that.
you've worked
Right,
with so
yeah.
many amazing
Yeah,
people.
George Clinton.
George Clinton, hell
so-
yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep. Some legendary folks you just rattled off there. Great job. Asa and Aaron, they're legends in their own, obviously, you know, and it was so cool to work with these folks who cared so much about what we were doing. You know, they cared so much about the whole process, not just what shot we're on. It's like, what are we doing tomorrow? What are we doing in the edit? You got an idea for what this could sound like already? You know, it's like they're thinking about it on that level, and it's just so nice to, you know, to feel like they got my back. You know, they got the movies back. You know, if it doesn't feel like they got my back, they got the movies back. You know, like they know what they're doing, and they know. You know, there was a couple times where I felt like in the edit, I respected them even more because they were just being very aware of, you know, what I had to work with throughout the process, and just being, they were, you know, a couple times Ace would be like, you know, I'm gonna just do one just like this, just so you got it, you know, and she would just go bam, 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 real quick, and I was like, didn't ask for that, but thank you, and it's awesome. And there were so many of those moments that she contributed, and you know, she really dug into the character, you know, and aside from Aaron really digging into his character, the other thing that he brought to the set was just this quarterback energy, you know, like he just had that team captain vibe where, you know, like the whole crew, you know, everyone loves Aaron Paul, right? You know, it's just like, I told that cat, like, he'll probably never have to buy another drink in his life, right? Like, never in life. You know, he's just the best. He was just the best. You know, he just randomly jump on, the crew members FaceTime with their kid, you know, and it was like, he'd go out of his way to just make it a happy, fun vibe for everyone, and then just kill it. You know, I think there was a scene I called the Blue Argument, where they're just kind of going head to head on a big conflict, and that was like for us, the dramatic scene of the movie. And you know, the whole crew was watching it with like, oh, they had the popcorn out, you know, like we was almost fucking up behind the scenes because like we were so busy, like just watching them do their thing, you know, go head to head and like really deliver. You know, this is like, you know, some heavyweights going at it. It was awesome.
Well, I saw that he was saying the same thing about you in terms of keeping the set really happy and energized, and that you would play music on set.
Yeah.
What kind of music were you playing?
You know, it would be all over the place. As I got to know some of the crew, I could tell there was some people who had just like diverse ears. You know, I could tell they were, you know, a younger crew. A lot of them, you know, had maybe heard of me and my music stuff, and so like it was almost like I got to DJ for the cast and the crew. I know I kind of had a sense of the music that Aaron liked, and I kind of got some clues as to the music that Asa would like. So sometimes when I have to like, get the morale right, I could like slip in a couple bangers that they may know, and it's like, oh, and then it's like, yeah, let's go, let's get this, So it was super, super effective. I think more directors need to do it. It was a lot of fun, and I think it also, it's the pulse, it's the heartbeat. People need that. It helped us to move faster. Putting on some Berlin techno, super fast techno. You get your sets built quicker. It's just like,
Had you seen the 3-body problem before you worked with her?
no, I haven't seen it.
There is a set piece in that.
I know it. I know it now. I haven't seen it before.
I see. There is, I'm sure you know what scene I'm talking about then. That is some of the most fun gore I've seen in a long time. I'll have to just show you that out of context, James. I think you would really enjoy it.
Yeah, you have some good gore in this movie as well.
There's some great practical stuff, especially near the end.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll say, anyone watching this who doesn't want to be spoiled, maybe skip ahead a little bit, but like...
you gonna give him the big...
I won't say... Okay, I won't say anything specific, but I will say this. Okay, man, I've been doing my show, The Kill Count, for 8 years next month. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And I've been looking at.
You did VHS Kill Count. Didn't you?
Yeah, she hosted
Ozzy's Dungeon.
Ozzy's Dungeon. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've been counting kills for 8 years. There's a kill in this movie I've never seen before, and I thought it was really cool.
Yes, I know.
It's the helmet and the hose. I've never seen that done, and I give a little tip hat for something new.
It's so funny. I feel like just the job that we have, the very unique job that we have, when we see a unique death in a movie, we're like wine tasters. We're like, oh, very nice, very nice. Right down in our little notebooks.
I love it. That makes me so happy. Y'all are doing the Lord's work over there.
In addition to the practical effects, I felt like the visual effects were really good, especially for a movie with lower budget, like you said.
Thank you. That Medbot, right? The Medbot looks pretty
Medbot, the
just all the
squirmy little alien guy.
This kind of like hazy feel to everything. I could tell that you thought about what kind of atmosphere would this place have?
Yeah,
what does the air feel like? Even just looking out the window versus being inside. It was like, there's just a lot of texture, and I love it.
Thanks. Yeah, that we had practical, atmosphere going the whole time, and just it was so fun seeing all that stuff. Like there's a shot that I love. It's such a simple thing, when Brian shows up and the doors open and there's all this atmosphere, stuff flies in the thing, the door closes, just the little flourishes that is like choreography with like 4 people making a thing happen to make it look like that. It's movie magic, but it is a grand collaboration, and those types of little things are what gets me excited to work on this stuff.
I know that this was filmed in 2023. It's only coming to theaters now, March 2025. Was that because of a long post-production process with visual effects, or?
Yeah, we took a year for post, really, and then once, like, I delivered this movie a year ago. Almost a year ago. Yeah, it's been that long. We sold it, and like pretty early on, we sold it before it even hit festivals. So we, the distributors fell in love with it and wanted to get it in the theaters. So that had taken some time too. So, we've just been sitting on it. So it's time. It is time.
Yeah, and
I'm ready.
Congrats on getting a theatrical release. Yes. Like, that's
Thank
awesome.
you. Yeah, I really had no idea. I thought we were just going to go straight to streaming, and it's such a cool thing. I am tripping on it all the time. Oh, God.
Have you found that I'm not sure how many people have seen it at this point, but have you found that people are very surprised by how different it is than what you've done so far? Because when you compare this to like Ozzy's and like Kuzo, it's totally different.
It's totally different. I'm sure there's going to be like, dude, there's no buttholes in this movie. What are you talking about? But I'll be like, no, we got to look again. Just look again. I promise it's there.
There are orifices,
Yeah,
for
there's
sure.
a lot of orifices.
Yeah.
For sure, yes.
There are holes.
There's fluids, yes.
Well, thanks for chatting with us. We're gonna tell
I'm glad that's what we're ending on.
his
That's-
buttholes.
Yeah.
It seems appropriate for all of us, I think.
I think that's good. Yeah.
But we'll be sure to recommend Ash to people. And you mentioned festivals. We'll see you
we'll
at
be at
Overlook.
Overlook, yeah.
Oh hell
Yeah,
yeah!
we're
I
gonna
know
be
that's
there,
gonna
too.
be the jam. I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
that's gonna be the jam. It'll be a good time.
Yeah, your
I look forward to
curation
it.
looks fucking primo, dude. Like Death
Yes.
Becomes Her. Like great
Hey yo,
stuff.
that's the banger. Everyone keeps like that becomes our
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's the banger, though. Yeah.
Oh man, let's
Hell
go.
yeah.
Let's go hang out in New Orleans. Let's
Yeah,
do
yeah.
it.
All right, yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it.
Awesome,
See
man.
y'all
Well,
around.
thanks for your time. Great chatting with you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Y'all take care.